Hey guys, hope you're having a good day today. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different. We've had our channel for about a year now, so we thought it was time to finally do a face-to-face video. Today we're going to be answering various questions about us as Star Wars fans, such as our favorite characters, movies, and trilogies. We're also going to talk about our favorite stuff to watch outside of Star Wars. So, if you enjoy, hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get right into it.
Alright, first we're going to talk about our favorite characters in Star Wars. Mine personally is Anakin Skywalker, and I've liked him since I was a kid because as a kid growing up I always watched the prequels and the Clone Wars, so he's always been a big part of my life.
For me, my favorite character has always been Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love how many obstacles he's overcame in his whole story, from losing his master Qui-Gon to losing his love Satine to eventually losing Anakin and having to overcome all those obstacles. Throughout his whole life, he stayed true to the Jedi Code, and he was always a very courageous and brave hero for me.
Alright, next we're going to talk about our favorite Star Wars movie. Mine personally is Revenge of the Sith because, as I said before, growing up I always watched the prequels, and I think it has the best action, and it's really cool to see the conclusion to the trilogy and the transition into the original trilogy, as well as Anakin's fall to Darth Vader.
Revenge of the Sith is actually my favorite Star Wars movie too. It was the first one I watched, surprisingly, and I'm really a sucker for a good dark storyline. So I thought it was very well made, and I also love how many amazing Star Wars duels there are in that movie. Whether it's Anakin vs. Dooku, Yoda vs. Palpatine, or obviously Anakin vs. Obi-Wan. I really liked how dramatic the movie is, and it's a really good transition between the prequels and originals.
Next we're going to talk about the order that we watch the movies and how long we've watched the movies. And I've watched them since I was a kid, about 5 years old, and the order that I watched them in was the order they were released, so the originals, then the prequels, and then the sequels.
I was a late bloomer to Star Wars. I actually started watching when I was 13 in middle school. The Force Awakens was about to come out, and all my friends convinced me that I needed to watch Star Wars, and I'd never seen it before. So yeah, I started off with episode 3, as I said, and then I watched the originals. I love the originals. And then I went back and watched 1 and 2 after watching 3, and then eventually I watched the sequels.
Next we'll be discussing our favorite trilogy, and mine personally is the original trilogy. I think it's basically flawless, and there's really no errors in it, and it's really well made and executed.
My favorite trilogy is also the original trilogy. I really love characters like Luke, Leia, Han, the OG3, and also characters like Obi-Wan and Yoda. I think the trilogy was just perfectly made, and the characters are really memorable.
Alright, next for our favorite books, I would say mine is Master and Apprentice, because we get to see a lot more with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and their dynamic. Because in the prequel trilogy we only got a glimpse of this, but the book really expands on it well.
Alright, so I also really love Master and Apprentice, but my favorite has to be Dark Disciple. This book felt just like it was out of the Clone Wars, which happens to be my favorite show. I really like the character Quinlan Vos and getting to see more of him, because we only saw him for a few episodes in the Clone Wars. I also love seeing more of Asajj Ventress after her character changed a lot. In the Clone Wars, she was obviously a villain, and she turned anti-hero towards the end during Ahsoka's arc when she was leaving the Order. But in this, she was actually one of the heroes, and it was very interesting to see how much she had changed.
Next we'll be discussing our favorite Clone Wars arc, and mine would be the Siege of Mandalore, because it's just an epic conclusion to the series that we watched for so long, and it really fits well with Revenge of the Sith, and we thought it was cool to see those references.
My favorite arc has to be the Umbara arc. I say this because it gave great development to the clones, and especially to characters that I love, such as Rex and Fives. It showed that they're not just droids and that they have a mind for their own. I thought Krell was a really interesting villain, and he really played the part of someone that you want to hate.
Next we're going to talk about our favorite Star Wars Rebels episode, and mine would be Trial of the Apprentice Part 2 in Season 2. And I really like this episode because we get to see the epic duel between Ahsoka and Vader, who are former Master and Apprentice. And both these characters would be some of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Also, we get to see Maul, who plays a really cool dynamic in this episode because he's no longer a Sith, but he's not really on the Jedi side, so he's kind of on the outside looking in.
My favorite episode would be A World Between Worlds from Season 4. I say this because it was mind-blowing to see the first time, and it still is now. Seeing characters like Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Jin Rey, so many different characters while Ezra's walking through time, and then eventually when he saves Ahsoka from fighting Vader due to Morai pointing him the way. I thought this was just such a cool episode, and it connected to the series very well. It was also very emotional to see Ezra contemplating with Ahsoka about saving Kanan from when he sacrificed. I thought this was very interesting to see the dynamic and Ahsoka explaining the complications of what this would do. Just overall a really great episode to me.
Finally, we're going to discuss our favorite movie series outside of Star Wars, and mine would be Harry Potter because I also watched this since I was a kid, and I really like all the characters in this series, and the story just ties together really well.
So outside of Star Wars, my favorite series has to be Lord of the Rings. Ever since I was a kid, before I was even 2 years old, I was watching the movies with my aunt. They played a big part of my life with characters such as Aragorn and Legolas and Frodo, and just all the characters. I think they're all really interesting, and they all have a very significant role in the series. And yeah, it's played a big part of my life growing up.
Alright, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. We've never really done something like this before, so we wanted to talk a bit about ourselves. Please let us know in the comments your answers to these questions. We hope you have a good day, and may the Force be with you.